James Sunderland was a regular guy, living a mundane life until he received a letter from his deceased wife, Mary. The letter instructed him to meet her in their special place, the fictional town of Silent Hill. Despite the obvious impossibility of the situation, James couldn't resist the urge to find out what was going on. He felt that he owed it to his wife and himself to uncover the truth. With a heavy heart and a sense of urgency, James set out on a journey to Silent Hill. The once thriving tourist town was now a ghost town, shrouded in a mysterious fog. As he walked through the empty streets, James began to feel a sense of unease. The town was quiet and still, save for the sounds of his footsteps and the whispers that echoed through the air. As James delved deeper into Silent Hill, he was met with a series of strange and disturbing occurrences. He saw apparitions of his wife and encountered strange creatures that seemed to be attracted to him. James was plagued by vivid hallucinations and nightmares that seemed all too real. Despite his fear and the danger that surrounded him, James continued his journey. He was determined to find out what had happened to his wife and why she had brought him to this place. James didn't know what he would find, but he was prepared to face his worst nightmares to get to the bottom of the mystery. James Sunderland sets out on his journey to find his wife, Mary, who he believed was waiting for him in the town of Silent Hill. Despite the town's reputation for being shrouded in mist and surrounded by a dark aura, James is determined to find her. As he travels through the town, James begins to experience strange and unsettling occurrences, including hallucinations and nightmares. Despite this, he presses on, driven by his love and longing to be reunited with his wife. Along the way, James meets several other characters who are also searching for answers in Silent Hill, including a young girl named Laura, who seems to know more about the town's secrets than she lets on. As James delves deeper into the town, he realizes that the events he is experiencing are not just in his mind, but are instead rooted in the dark and twisted history of Silent Hill. He also discovers that Mary's presence in the town may be connected to a larger, more sinister force that is at work. Despite the increasing danger, James remains resolute in his quest to find Mary, even as he is faced with the town's dark and twisted secrets. As James continues his search for his wife, he becomes increasingly consumed by the mysterious events and hallucinations plaguing the town. He begins to question his own sanity as he encounters twisted, supernatural creatures and receives cryptic messages from an unknown source. Despite his fear and confusion, James remains determined to find Mary, even as he descends further into the town's dark and twisted world. In this part of James' story, he begins to uncover the shocking truth about the town and its residents, including the mysterious cult known as the Order. He learns that the town was once home to a series of experiments, both medical and supernatural, that left a lasting impact on its inhabitants. As he delves deeper into the town's secrets, James discovers that Mary was also caught up in the horrors that took place in the town, and that her death may not have been what it seemed. Despite the danger surrounding him, James remains resolute in his quest to find Mary and uncover the truth. However, as he continues his search, the line between reality and nightmare begins to blur, and James finds himself struggling to distinguish truth from fiction. The further he descends into madness, the clearer it becomes that his journey may have been doomed from the start. As James makes his way through the town of Silent Hill, he begins to experience increasingly strange and unsettling events. He hears whispers and strange noises, sees ghostly apparitions, and finds himself transported to strange alternate dimensions. Despite his growing fear, James presses on, determined to find Mary. James experiences hallucinations and becomes increasingly unhinged. He finds notes and messages written by Mary that suggest she was in a state of deep despair before she disappeared, and he begins to question whether or not he truly knew her. James's mental state continues to deteriorate as he encounters monstrous creatures, each more terrifying than the last. He becomes fixated on finding Mary and begins to have visions of her that are both loving and cruel. He is tormented by guilt over his past actions and haunted by memories of his wife, who died of an illness years before. As James's grip on reality slips further, he becomes increasingly paranoid and begins to see the town itself as a living, breathing entity that is trying to kill him. He becomes desperate to escape, but finds himself trapped in a never-ending cycle of violence and terror. James finally reached the hotel where Mary was staying. But what he found there was not what he was expecting. He found a letter from Mary confessing her love for him and that she was actually dead. James was horrified and devastated, realizing that everything he experienced in the town of Silent Hill was a manifestation of his guilt and grief over Mary's death. As he tried to come to terms with the truth, James encountered a mysterious cult that worshipped a deity known as the God of Secrets. The cult members tried to sacrifice James, but he was able to escape and venture deeper into the heart of Silent Hill. In the end, James was forced to confront his own guilt and reconcile with the truth about Mary's death. He had to come to terms with the fact that he was the one who caused her death and that he needed to find peace with what he had done. With this newfound understanding and acceptance, James was able to leave Silent Hill and find closure. He realized that Mary's love and memory would always be with him and that he would never forget the lessons he learned in Silent Hill. Leave a comment if you have suggestions for future videos and don't forget to like the video. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications if you want to hear more.